Hello and welcome back to yet another stream. We're on day 85 of 100, and today we're going to be looking at JSON APIs and Ajax. I'm pretty excited for this because this has been the section that I've been most excited for. I'm not going to lie, and even though it's been a super long day as it is, I feel refreshed just seeing this. I can't wait to jump straight into it. So let's just do that. Similar to how user interfaces help people use programs, application programming interfaces, APIs, help programs interact with other programs. APIs are tools that computers use to communicate with one another, in part to send and receive data. You can use API functionality in your page once you understand how to make requests and process data from it. Programmers often use Ajax technologies when working with APIs. The term Ajax originated as an acronym for asynchronous JavaScript and XML. It refers to a group of technologies that make asynchronous requests to a server to transfer data, then load any returned data into the page. An asynchronous process has a couple key properties. The browser does not stop loading a page to wait for the server's response. Also, the browser inserts updated data into part of the page without having to refresh the entire page. User experience benefits from asynchronous processes in several ways. Pages load faster since the browser isn't waiting for the server to respond in the middle of a page render. Requests and transfers happen in the background without interrupting what the user is doing. And when the browser receives new data, only the necessary area of the page refreshes. These qualities especially enhance the user experience for single-page applications. The data transferred between the browser and the server is often in a format called JavaScript Object Notation, JSON. JSON resembles JavaScript object literal syntax, except that it's transferred as a string. Once received, it can be converted into an object and used in a script. This section covers how to transfer and use data using Ajax technologies with a free code camp API. Let's jump straight to the first lesson. Handle click events with JavaScript using the onClick property. You want your code to execute only once your page has finished loading. For that purpose, you can attach a JavaScript event to the document called DOM-content-loaded. Here's a code that does this. Document.add-event-listener DOM-content-loaded function. You can implement event handlers that go inside of the DOM-content-loaded function. You can implement an onClick event handler which triggers when the user clicks on the element with ID getMessage by adding the following code. Add a click event handler inside of the DOM-content-loaded function for the element with ID of getMessage. So it's a function. It's interesting. So you can implement event handlers that go inside of the DOM-content-loaded function. Okay. So add a click event handler inside of for the element. Okay, so document.get element by ID get message dot onClick equal to function. Oh wait, you want me to add a event handler? Is that what it said? Add a click event handler. I didn't realize it said that. I'm literally looking at the top. So we need to do add event listener. The type's going to be click. But what do we call? Doesn't say anything. So we just add a event listener, click. We don't call a function or anything. Okay. Requires at least 2 arguments. Yeah, I know, but you didn't specify what I should put in. Do we just have an arrow function? Like an empty function or something? Oh, I need to have this, don't I? If it's empty. Your code should use a document.get. Oh. So we can't do it this way? That's so silly. It's the same thing. Fine. We'll do it this way. I've literally never done it this way. Can I use an arrow function here? At least? Here we go. I don't know who does it that way. Change text with click events. When the click event happens, you can use JavaScript to update an HTML element. For example, when a user clicks the get message button, it changes the text of the element with the class message to say, here's the message. This works by adding the following code within the click event. Document.getElement by class name, message, index, 0.text content, here's the message. Add code inside the onClick event handler to change the text inside the message element to say, here's the message. Why did we not have a variable? Why do I have to keep writing this out? Document dot. Does message have a... Where's message? There's a message box. Inside message box, right? Select... Wait. It says select the element with class... Okay, never mind. Can I not do query selector? 0. This is such a weird way to do this. Oh my god. Now what do you want me to say? Here is the message. Oh, no full stop, just like that. Oopsie. Okay. If we click it, here is the message. Yay! Get JSON with the JavaScript XML HTTP request method. You can also request data from an external source. This is where APIs come into play. Remember that APIs, or application programming interfaces, are tools that computers use to communicate with one another. You'll learn how to update HTML with the data we get from APIs using a technology called Ajax. Most web APIs transfer data in a format called JSON. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. JSON syntax looks very similar to JavaScript object literal notation. JSON has object properties and their current values sandwiched between a left and right curly brace. These properties and their values are often referred to as key value pairs. However, JSON transmitted by APIs are sent as bytes, and your application receives it as a string. These can be converted into JavaScript objects, but they are not JavaScript objects by default. The JSON.parse method parses the string and constructs the JavaScript object described by it. You can request the JSON from FreeCodeCamp's cat photo API. Here's the code you can put in your click event to do this. You want me to do that? So request new XML HTTP request.open, get, JSON cats.json, true. Request send, request onload, function, JSON.parse, request response text. Document.getElement by class name, message.innerHTML, JSON.stringify, JSON. Okay. Here's a review of what each piece is doing. The JavaScript XML HTTP request object has a number of properties and methods that are used to transfer the data. First, an instance of the XML HTTP request object is created and saved in the request variable. Next, the open method initializes a request. This example is requesting data from an API, therefore is a GET request. The second argument for open is the URL of the API you are requesting data from. The third argument is a Boolean value, where true makes it an asynchronous request. The send method sends the request. Finally, the onload event handler passes the return data and applies the JSON stringify method to convert the JavaScript object into a string. This string is then inserted as the message text. Update the code to create and send a GET request to the FreeCodeCamp photo API, then click the Get Message button. Your Ajax function will replace the message will go here text with the raw JSON output from the API. Let's go do that. And let us also check our browser, shall we? For the network. We click get. We can check the XHR, we can view the header, and we can see the response. There's the response header. We can view the raw header as it is, as we see it. That's pretty cool. Okay, so when we click, interesting. Is it supposed to stringify? Yeah. Ah. Access the JSON data from an API. In the previous challenge you saw how to get JSON data from the free CodeCamp photo API. Now you'll take a closer look at the return data to better understand the JSON format. Recall some notation in JavaScript. Square brackets represent an array, curly brackets represent an object, double quotes represent a string. They are also used for key names in JSON. Understanding the structure of the data that an API returns is important because it influences how you retrieve the values you need. On the right, click the Get Message button to load the free CodeCamp photo API JSON into the HTML. The first and last character you see in the JSON data are square brackets. This means that the return data is an array. The second character in the JSON data is a curly bracket, which starts as an object, or which starts an object. Looking closely, you can see that there are three separate objects, the JSON data in an array of three objects, where each object contains information about a cat photo. You learned earlier that objects contain key value pairs that are separated by commas. In the cat photo example, the first object has ID 0, where ID is a key and 0 is its corresponding value. Similarly, there are keys for image link, alt text, and code names. Each cat photo object has these same keys, but with different values. Another interesting key value pair is the first object is codenames, Juggernaut, Mrs. Wallace, Buttercup. Here codenames is the key and its value is an array of three strings. It's possible to have arrays of objects as well as a key with an array as a value. Remember how to access data in arrays and objects. Arrays use bracket notation to access a specified index of an item. Objects use either bracket or dot notation to access the value of a given property. Here's an example that prints the alt text of the first cat photo. Note that the past JSON data in the editor is saved in a variable called JSON. The console.log JSON at index 0.altText gives us a white cat wearing a green helmet-shaped melon on its head. For the cat with the ID of 2, print to the console the second value in the codenames array. You should use bracket and dot notation on the object, which is saved in the variable JSON to access the value. That was a mouthful. Verani, hey, how was D3? It was good. We finished it in one session last night. It was very exciting. I got to learn quite a few extra things, especially with SVG, which was a lot of fun. I'm pretty excited for the API section. Okay, so for the cat with the ID of 2, what do you want me to do? What do we get right now? Do you want me to get the ID 2? Okay, so JSON. Okay. So JSON 2. Print to the console the second value in the codenames array. What is the codenames array? Hold on. Give me the message. 2. Where's codenames? Codenames. There it is. The what? Which one? The second. Print the second value, so 0, 1, index 1. You should use bracket and dot notation on the object. So JSON 2, I should be able to do dot code names 1, I think? And you want me to log that to console. Is that what you said? Print to the console. Console.log JSON2.codenames 1. Sounds like I'm keeping score. See what we get. The variable is JSON, yeah. Well, let me just make sure quickly. JSON2 dot code names is the doctor, Loki, Joker, and you want the second one. Loki. Why didn't that work earlier? What the hell? That was weird. Anyway, that should be it. Run! There we go. Convert JSON data to HTML. Now that you're getting data from a JSON API, you can display it in the HTML. You can use a for each method to loop through the data since the cat photo objects are held in an array. As you get to each item, you can modify the HTML elements. First, declare an HTML variable with var HTML equal to empty quote, okay, which has already been done for us. Then loop through the JSON, adding HTML to the variable that wraps the key names in strong tags, followed by the value. When the loop is finished, you render it. Here's the code that does this. JSON for each, okay. Keys equal to object.keys, value HTML plus equal to, okay. Add a for each method to loop over the JSON data and create the HTML elements to display it. Okay. Is the HTML going to be displayed anywhere so that I can see it? Oh, it will. So I need to do a JSON for each. What do we call this? We call it key. So this is our key, and then for each key, hopefully they'll teach us some new things. Hey Ballsy, how's it going? Okay, so now that we've got that, there's gonna be a list of keys, so let keys equal to object dot keys. We want to get all the keys from key. Oh no, but this isn't a key for each. Wait, I want to see what this actually gives us. So that I remember again. That gives us 3 objects, and the data that it's giving us. Hold on. JSON.stringify. Did I spell that right? Hopefully. What are we dealing with? Okay, so it's a bunch of different things. So those are the actual objects. We call that an object, I guess. I call an OBJ. Okay, so now that we know that, let keys equal to object.keys obj. Now that we have that, we need to append to our HTML variable. What did they want us to do? Then loop through the JSON, adding HTML to the variable that wraps the key names in strong tags. Strong. Okay. I'm gonna have to do another one. Keys for each key HTML plus equal to strong plus key plus must react now. Strong. There. This is so weird to do it this way. So you want me to just that wraps the key names in strong followed by the value. Oh, so I still need the value? Okay. Plus obj key. Probably have to add a line break, don't I? Is that it? I think that should be it. When I click the button, whoopsie. When I click the button, we should hopefully see stuff. ID 0, image link, cool, alt text, cool, code names, cool. Okay, it's a bit weird, but huh. Is that all? Is that what I need to do? Is that correct? It is. Where's the Pomodoro clock? Over here. We finished it. Here it is. What a fun project. Cool, huh? I updated the icon for it. Don't know if you can tell, but I added some shading in, and especially around the inner side, so it's got a bit more depth, and there's also a bit of a shadow to it to give it depth on the object itself. I did a tiny little improvement. It's cute. So where were we? The last few render images from data sources. So the last few challenges showed that each object in the JSON array contains an image link key with a value that is the URL of a cat's image. When you're looping through these objects, you can use this image link property to display this image in an image element. Here's the code that does this. HTML plus equal to image source equal to plus val dot image link plus. God, that's so horrible. At least use. You know, this feels like it was done before, like somewhere between the basic JavaScript course. I mean, what happened to string literals? At least update them, because this will be so much neater with string literals. But this just shows that we've come a bit of a long way, haven't we? That we know about improvements that we can use. Because in the beginning we just follow blindly, but now we're like, no, but we can do this, but we can do that, but it's so much better. So that's good. I'm proud of us. Look at us. I want to see if we can get away with using string literals. I don't know. It should still be the same thing if it's just checking the value and not the method in which we use. So here's a code that does this. Cool. Add code to use the image link and alt text properties in an image tag. Okay, where's our image tag? Do I have to add it? Do I have to add Add code to use the image link and alt text properties in an image tag. Okay, so image. Oh, I have to add it in the HTML. This is weird. Okay, so we're going to use string literals for this. So we're going to do image source equal to. And what's the source going to be? Source is going to be. String literals are so much better to use. We are going to use JSON for each val. So it's just val.image link, it should be. And alt. Do you see how much better string literals are? Because you don't have to worry about adding the plus and then the space and then the plus and worrying about spaces and did you add a space. You literally just have these two backticks to, you know, declare a string literal, and then you can literally just write it as you want it to appear, and then just use the dollar sign or the anchor sign with a left brace and a right brace, and in between that the variable, and that will be counted as an actual variable and not as text. So you can do other things inside of that. So we're going to use image link, and then we're going to also call here, we're going to call val.alt text. And then that should work, unless they don't want us to use literals, but I mean, it's all browser based, so it shouldn't matter. It should work. So what happened there? We got an image. Could not load the image. The alt. Okay, something weird went here. Alt equal to a what? A white? Why is it splitting it up like that? That's just weird. Why is it treating it like that? Why is the alt literally splitting each word as a attribute? Oh, because I didn't close the thing. Hold on, I wasn't done. That would help, wouldn't it? There we go. Let's see what's going on now. Wait, why can't I even see it anymore? Where's the image? It's like literally not even here. That is weird. Okay, let's just see if we pass the test. Okay. Weird. Something bugged out in this. Can't even see it, but whatever. Pre-filter JSON to get the data you need. If you don't want to render every cat photo you get from the free CodeCamp cat photo API, you can pre-filter the JSON before looping through it. Given that the JSON data is stored in an array, you can use the filter method to filter out the cat whose ID has a value of 1. Here's a code to do this. JSON equal to JSON.filter, function value, return value.id not equal to 1. Add code to filter the JSON data to remove the cat with the ID value of 1. Why can't I just do it in the initial call? Because now you're going to do it twice. We'll use val then, since I like using val. Return val.id not equal to 1. There you go. Get geolocation data to find a user's GPS coordinates. Okay, time to find Virani, guys. Where's Virani hiding? We're gonna use these GPS coordinates. Another cool thing you can do is access your user's current location. Every browser has a built-in navigator that can give you this information. Hey Virani, do you want to click this link for me quickly? The navigator will get the user's current longitude and latitude. You will see a prompt to allow or block the site from knowing your current location. The challenge can be completed either way, as long as the code is correct. By selecting allow, you'll see the text on the output phone change to your latitude and longitude. Here's a code that does this. If navigator.geolocation navigator.geolocation.get current position, function position, document.get element by id, data.inHTML latitude, position codes, latitude, longitude, position codes, longitude. Huh. First it checks if the navigator.geolocation object exists. If it does, the getCurrentPosition method on that object is called, which initiates an asynchronous request for the user's position. If the request is successful, the callback function in the method runs. This function accesses the position object's value for latitude and longitude using dot notation and updates the HTML. Add the example code inside the script tags to check a user's current location and insert it into the HTML. Ah, see what you're doing? See what you're doing? You're trying to trick me to show my location. Is that it? I see what it's doing here, guys. So we need to safeguard ourselves, don't we? I've got a solution for this. Aha! Look at that! Amazing how that works, huh? Post data with the JavaScript XML HTTP request method. In the previous examples, you received a data from an external source. You can also send data to an external source as long as that resource supports Ajax requests and you know the URL. JavaScript's XML HTTP request method is also used to post data to a server. Here's an example. XML HTTP request post URL true, set request header, content type text plain, request on ready state change. Request.send username. You've seen several of these methods before. Here the open method initializes the request as a post to the given URL on the external resource and uses the true boolean to make it asynchronous. The setRequest header method sets the value of an HTTP request header, which contains information about the sender and the request. It must be called after the open method, but before the send method. The two parameters are the name of the header and the value to set as the body of that header. Next, the onReady state change event listener handles a change in the state of the request. A ready state of 4 means the operation is complete, and a status of 200 means it was a successful request. The document's HTML can be updated. Finally, the send method sends the request with the username value which was given by the user in the input field. Update the code to create and send a post request, then enter your name in input box and click send message. Your Ajax function will replace reply from server will be here with the reply of the server. In this case, it is your name appended with loves cats. We literally got nothing. No server. What the hell? Send message? Literally doesn't do anything. On click calls a function. Wait, what's the console say? Oh! 404. Interesting. Also, why is it doing nothing though? It's not even request new XML HTTP request request.open post. What's the URL though? What's the URL? What's the API URL? Please don't tell me it will let us pass like this. We didn't even get to see it working, goddammit. We did it. Yay. Okay, this introduction is a stub. Okay. Yes, they clearly struggled on this last part. Quick guys, we need to put this together. Wait, where's my curriculum? There it is. Did we already? Is that it? Projects already? So soon? I want to get here. Okay, so D3 is done, JSON, APIs and Ajax is done, and then we got the project. Visualize data with a bar chart. Let's go to the first lesson. Oh, the project's already, right? So fast, so quick, so good. Let's see what I can remember. Nah, there's gonna be more APIs later on. I think this is just basic stuff just to like get your feet wet so that you can work with the projects. There wasn't really an API section. It was it was nothing. There was like hardly anything there. It was like it was so bad. Visualize data with a bar chart. Okay, functionally similar to this. I'm not gonna look at that because then that gives me an idea of what to do, and I like to go dark. Fulfill the below user stories. The tests require axes to be generated using the D3 axis property, which automatically generates ticks along the axes. These ticks are required for passing the D3 test because their positions are used to determine alignment of graphed elements. You'll find information about generating axes at here. Required non-virtual DOM elements are queried on the moment of each test. If you use a front-end framework like Vue, for example, the test results may be inaccurate for dynamic content. Okay, so no using React. We hope to accommodate them eventually, but these frameworks are not currently supported. My chart should have a title with a corresponding ID of title. Okay, seems easy enough. Here is the dataset you'll need to complete this project. I guess this is why they taught us how to fetch data with XML requests and whatnot. Yes, this was such a rough tutorial. My eyes! Oh, my eyes! God damn. Is there a dark mode? There should be a dark mode for GitHub, right? Oh, there's so many options in D3. Anyway, we gotta start somewhere. Can you take me to this page, please? This section? Or apparently don't take me, that's fine. Okay, cool. CodePen, huh? Wait, did I fork it? We are calling this FCC visualize. I guess I have to use their Z with a bar chart. I just call my projects whatever it's called. Alright, gonna have that empty, gonna have that empty. Cool, great stuff. My chart should have a title. So we gotta remember how to get data first of all. So much you could do. I remember we had to do like apply, we had to use enter, apply, data, all that. Where's data? What was the one thing called? It was called enter. D3.enter. I was pretty sure it was called that. Was it not called enter? No, it was. Wait, so these are the APIs. Where's the actual D3 documentation? Guess we could do wiki. No, it's the same thing, it's still the API. We know about min, we know about max. I forgot that they refer to it as an API instead of modules. But then where is... I know about all of these, but where's apply? Unless that's just something JavaScript specific. Or maybe it was like phased out because it's so old. They don't use it anymore, but... Okay, let's see. What would it be under? Collections, no. Force fetch, no. No. Scales, yes, we're gonna need scales later. Kind of is collections. D3.keys. List the keys of an associative array. Okay, so we've got that. No, I want to see the... No! Go back, go back, go back. Example. Yeah, I remember all of this. D3.select. Select all your elements. Apply all of that. But where's the data itself? Oh, there's the data. Okay, so the first thing we're going to need to figure out is how we're going to get our data into our project. Not in our CSS, preferably. So, const data equal to... We're going to have to get a request going here, which is going to be fun times. They gave us a link. I think it was this, right? So we're gonna have to do data equal to new XML HTTP request, and then we're gonna have to do... Wait, I can't do const now. So then we can do data.onReadyStateChange. If this dot ready state equal to 4 and this dot status equal to 200, then wait, that's the data request. I can't store it in here, can I? I don't think this is going to work the way I think it's going to work. I think it should be fine, right? Well, let's test it. There's only one way to know if it'll work. We're supposed to do data equal to data.response text. And then data.open get what was the URL? Can I use single quotes? Oh! Oh, why would you just replace them? I'm not trying to add them. Okay, there we go. And then I'm missing one thing. Asynchronous, so true. And then data.send. And please, can we get this in VS Code? Oh, what is happening to my mouse every time it resets? I hate this. Hold on. Speed. There you go. Save it by default. Why does it not save? That feels weird now, holy shit. So we need to... Coding, JavaScript, studies, FCC data visualization projects. Was it data visualization? Data, yeah, visualization projects. And this one is going to be visualize data with a bar chart. Visualize data with a bar chart.js. Because why not? Okay, there we go. JavaScript. Cool. What's the problem? Talk to me. Well, then just change them if you want triples. There. Problem solved. Done. No errors. Unexpected token? Oh, not in this one. I can ignore all of these because we're good. Okay, so far so good. So data.send, and that should be all. And then I want to console.log data. I just want to see what we get, what I'm working with. I've never done this before. No! Again! Run it again. Go! It entered something. There. Cool. There's the response. Wait, do I want just response? What if I just put in response? What do I get then? Can I do response text.response? No! Just give me this! Oh my god, what am I doing? What am I doing? Let's see. Wonder if I'm supposed to add data.response type equal to JSON. It already knows, but you know, automatically handle it. We got get URL and true. Okay, so I'm gonna have to change this and do data will become data request. We're gonna have a const of data. What? What do you mean? Oh. I was like, what? And then what we're gonna do is where am I changing the value again? There. Data equal to data request dot. Now I can log data. Okay, let's see what we're working with now. Undefined. Is it because of it needs to be as a callback function? Because it's asynchronous? Hey, I'm learning a thing or two. We can have data requests like this. Okay, I want to change all of this to XHR, and this is still going to be data request. And we're going to have let XHR equal to new HTTP request, and then this is gonna take, so this is gonna be a function now. So the URL and the callback. And then we're gonna have this inside of that. because then we can make a little helper function. And then we know how to do that in the future. If this dot ready state is 4 and this dot status is 200, then this becomes the callback. And then the XHR dot response. Else, whoops, what happened there? Else, we call the callback with the status, and also I just realized that I need a variable here Wait, what? The hell's going on? If this dot ready state is 4 and status is equal to 200, else status and the XHR response. Cool. Then XHR dot response type is JSON, but that we're gonna have we need the response type before that, don't we? And then we have onReady state change. And then finally send it at the end. Then we can call data request. And the first part is going to be the URL. And instead of having this over here, this is going to be URL. I don't think I use URL anywhere else. Because then that's going to, oops, wrong one. That's going to be the URL. And then we are going to have the callback function. Could just be an inline function, I guess. So the error, otherwise data. I mean, if there's an error, or if there's if there was an error. Okay, that should be fine. Else log data. What's the problem? Oh. Okay, let's leave that there for now. I'm not using data anywhere else, I shouldn't be, right? Okay, let's see what I get. Already declared in the upper scope. Oh, it's annoying. Can I just change this to response? I gotta figure out better naming conventions. I mean, there was an error. Where do you say 2, 3, 4? What is error? Oh, it's the entire thing. Can I do error.code? Let's just check something out quick. Undefined. Can I do data.code? Data is undefined? No, because it's not ready yet. Oh, these asyncs will get me. I feel I had it much easier right in the beginning. Let me go right back to the beginning. I had it so simple, and then I decided to be fancy. Let's try this again from the top. We'll get undefined now. Because it's asynchronous. So we need to add a callback function after all. But let's keep it simple. It's basically like a closure, isn't it? That's what I had before, right? Did I close this? No, I didn't. No, I did. So we need those two, XHR equal to new XML. And that send needs to happen after we've done what we've done. And then this needs to call, needs to be the URL. Then we call the callback. Callback xhr.responseText. So that when I call it, I do data request, the URL, which is that, as a string, and then we need to pass in a should we call it processed data, and then we need processed data. Processed data doesn't take in anything, does it? Yeah, it does. It takes the response text. Or we could just say response. No, response text is fine. What am I trying to do now? What's my original one? Oh, we still need to call function, right? Because we're not calling it on anything else. God. Thanks, React. There's a function process data, which is what it's going to call. Gets a response text, and then we log that. And then the callback, we call and we pass it the xhr.response text. Alright, now let's see where we go. So we go from undefined to we get nothing. We called data request, didn't we? Yeah. Data request. We gave it a URL. We gave it process data. If this.ready state is 4 and this.status is 200, then we call the callback and we pass it in xhr.response text. Okay, but the callback doesn't seem to ever get called. Else it would log response text, process data. Do I have to actually no. I don't need to call the parentheses on that because it's callback. It will call it in here. Is it because I changed the order here? That's weird. Forget about data for now. How did this break? Data request takes a URL and a callback. We open the URL and then afterwards we send. And it takes a callback. And if this.ready state, wait, let's see if we even get here. Hey, thanks, Verani. I guess I'm so used to this. Used to this now. Why am I not even... What is happening? We're calling data request right here. Am I so used to React that now I'm missing something? This should call it data request. That's the URL. And that's what to do with it. Why is there another... Why does it... Oh. The only extra things that I added was the response type. And this was up here. So let's undo those two changes and see if that makes a difference. No, it doesn't. It's still the same. Wait, let me reload the pen. Why do you need a comma there in data request? It gets automatically added by the linter. No idea why. Missing trailing comma. Wait, do I have to return? Do I have to return out of that? Is that why it's not working? No, it's not. Hey Flesh, how's it going? I incorporated your changes, by the way. Thank you so much for the suggestions. It was kind of what you were referring to, but not quite. But I got it working. You wanted me to use the values, so like have whatever the attribute here and then set that to state, but unfortunately it doesn't work that way for HTML attributes. What did work though is using a reference. I used the reference and then at the top in my constructor I could refer to the reference. You just go react.createRef and then I would say like this.start. So the start would, let's say, be the start button. Then I can go this.start. You know, or let's say one of these sounds. Oh wait, that was a start sound. So this.start is a sound. Then I can go this.start.current.play and it'll play that sound. And that worked nicely. I got it here somewhere. And this was the outcome. And it's all finished now. Got sounds and stuff. So thank you for that. Yeah, React did mention that you shouldn't add too many references. It's just I couldn't get it to work with that. The attribute, it wouldn't work because I think I can't describe it. I think it's a method. The specific one. We want where was it? Over here somewhere. The current time, right? Generally, current time is not on a HTML attribute. It's specifically only on an audio tag, and even then you call the element .current time and you give it a value specifically like that. So I did try it the specific way with updating it directly from state, setting current time equal to a state value, but that never updated. So refs was at least a better approach than using document.getElementById. But I could send you the link, and if you can find the way that works, then I'd be more than happy to try it out. But I did try it out for about half an hour and I just couldn't get it to work. So I just resorted to refs. There you go. By the way, you don't have any idea as to why this request is not giving out any data, do you? It's like it's not even getting in here. Oh, hold on. Remove that. Because it doesn't even log the got here part in our console. It's just nothing. I used to get something before, but now it's like nothing. So on ready state change, and if the ready state is 4, and the status is 200, wait, hold on, is it because I changed? Is it because I changed the, oh. Oh! Why does it do that? Status? Wait, is this JavaScript? Yes it is. Why is it doing that? Why is status an issue? Oh, it's because it's never used. I think it's because I'm using this. So if I go status is 200. And if I go const ready state equal to xhr dot ready state. Wait, I don't need these two new variables, right? I can literally just go xhr dot ready state and xhr dot status. No need for the extra variables. Then I have to like assign them. I think that was the issue. I was using this. Okay, there you go. Yay! Finally! Because I changed it, I had a different method and then I wanted to see, initially I had it just without a function, but when I tried to set the value to a variable, it was undefined because, again, asynchronous kicks my ass. But then I quickly remembered about asynchronous calls, so I realized I need a callback function so that when it's done, it calls the callback function, and that's what we have here. So yeah, it's working now. And now in process data, I can set data equal to response text. And actually we need to figure out what data we want. Let data. Data equal to response text. But what do we actually need? The only stuff we need is... we might need GDP. I think we'll need all of this. So I should just have this entire thing. Yeah. So the entire object. So data equal to response text. That's all. And then we call a data request. And then finally we can log data. And then I can also log, just to make sure it's working, data dot, I think it was GDP, was it? Data.code. Let's try data.code. Just to make sure I'm working with what I think I'm working with. Data is undefined, really? Oh, it's doing that again. This is so annoying because I can't directly work with it. I can only work with it inside of process data. Because when I try to call data here, data is empty. This is so annoying. Is there another way to work around this besides putting it all in this function that it's going to call? Is that how asynchronous calls work? So that's the object. Look at the fetch API. I heard about it, yeah. Okay, now I just gotta figure out why I can't get code out of this. That is a JSON object, right? Or not? This is a string, that's why. We need to convert it to JSON. Wait? It is a string, right? From what I remember correctly, one of them returns a string and then you need to convert it. Is it JSON? I think it's supposed to be .json. Is that correct? Or am I like remembering things now? Well, there was an option to No, it wasn't that. It was JSON.parse. Where am I remembering that now? So it's JSON.parse, right? Response text. Should be that. There we go. That was the issue, because I remember correctly when you get a request, it comes back as a string. Then you need to convert it into a JSON object to actually work with it. Whoo! It gets easier and easier each time, that's for sure. That's cool. Cool. So now we got what we need. We got our entire object, so we can just call data.co, data.this, data.that. So this all has to be in functions. So function process data will process. That's the data request. That's data over there. I might not have it in there. That's process data. This is where we should be doing whatever we need to do with that data, because this is the callback. So process data is actually where we're going to build our chart. And now we need D3, which I don't think is in here. So we need to go get D3. Okay, so we're just going to add this into that. Save and close. And now, from what I remember, we needed data. Where was that example that we were looking at? Now we finally have our data. Let's analyze our data. What does ours look like? We just have an object. That is what we need. We need the data there, actually. That's the data. That's data we need. So let us log. Can we actually do data.data because we're using a conflicting name? That would be funny. Oh, yes. There we go. There's our data. So that's what we're going to use. So here's what we're going to do. Why does it keep putting this in strings? In braces? Why? Why is it doing this? What the fuck? It never used to do this. Why is it doing this now? How is that valid? Why? Why not just data equal to response text? Yeah, I know it's destructuring, but why? Oh, is it a requirement? I see now. It's a preference. Yeah, because I have data inside there, yeah. Okay, so we're gonna destructure data there, perfect. That makes sense. I was like actually wondering now, because I'm so used to React. Should we call it object? What should we call it? Like our entire thing? Because I don't want to say data.data. Do we just call it object? Is that reserved? Doesn't look like it is. Equal to JSON.parse response text. Your mix saturates a lot? What do you mean by that? It's too loud or? That's weird. No one said anything before. Is that a bit better now? Hey Lucas, how's it going? We can literally just call it object. Right? In here. Okay, then I just turned it down a bit. It might have been on the extremes. Only problem is when I talk softer, it might end up affecting it a bit. So hopefully people will still hear me. There we go. Okay, so object is going to be JSON.parse response text, and then data is going to be object. So then I can log data. Wait, that's going to be data in the object. Confuse myself now. So that should just be the array. Perfect. So that's what we needed. We needed data for our D3 data. So we got data. The object is there if we need the object, but we're not going to do anything with the object right now. So the next step is incorporating all that data. But it wasn't CSV, we used something else. It was D3 dot... Was it data? I think it was D3 dot data, to be honest. GDP visualization, yeah, something like that. Wait, where's our... There it is. You know what's so funny? D3 apparently can take JSON data. So we yep. But it's fine. We learnt about XML HTTP requests. So why not? How long have I been coding for? 85 days. Okay, so we need let. What are you doing? What are the requirements? Should have a title. Should have a G element x-axis with corresponding. Okay, remember that. That's SVG. We know how to do that. We know how to do that. Each bar should have properties date, data date. So const. I'm like so stuck because I've never done a project like this. So like even trying to come up with variable names now, trying to visualize. Let's call it info, shall we? So it's D3. And we need to select something. And then we need to put something into it. That's as much as I remember. So it's D3 dot. It was like select. We need to select something. So we need a container. So it's going to be select. Let me just write this out like this. So we select the ID and then we append SVG to it. And then to that we're going to apply attributes dot attributes or whatever attributes we're going to need, etc. Yeah, so let's figure out what the requirements are. My chart should have a title with a corresponding ID of title. See, this is where I get confused with D3. I don't know if that's something that you should just hard code in, but I think it is. My chart should have a title with a corresponding ID of title. So I'm just going to create a div then in our HTML. So we're just going to have... we don't even have HTML. There we go. I need to create an HTML page for this. I cannot work like this. Studies. It's gonna be easier in the next project, that's for sure. And then this is gonna go. And this is gonna be called, what do I call them usually? Like main or whatever. So then this will disappear. It doesn't exist anymore. Sorry. There you go. Same thing, different file. Then we can also create an index.html. So we can actually work on that as well. No, don't open it like that. Please open it in VS Code. Thank you. And then we're gonna have that to the side. We need some basic HTML. Can I get some basic HTML somewhere? Do I have any basic HTML? Let's see. Did I do one? This is all JavaScript. Where's my non? my non-React stuff. I just need some basic stuff. I think I had some basic stuff in here. There you go. I'm gonna take my existing code here, have a title here, asset styles main whenever we end up adding that. Div, cool. We'll have an opening div. We'll have a closing div, no audio. Script, that's where we're gonna add main, which we do have, which is perfect. We're gonna do an actual project folder now. And then forget to add that. Cool. Now that we have the script, do I usually call mine FCC? I don't remember. There's just so many projects to keep track of. Okay. So inside of the div, that's going to be like the main div, and then inside of that div we're going to have a container. ID? Wait, what? What did you need me to do? My chart should have a title with a corresponding ID equal to title. Okay. What happened to title though? What happened? Why is it? I'm losing my mind. I had it. Okay, never mind. And then I assume there's going to be a value, but they haven't given us that value. Okay, finally. Oh, but of course this is not going to work now. We've got to remember to remove that. That's the problem when I need to have it in free code camp. My chart should have a title with a corresponding ID of title, but what is the title going to be? That's weird. We need a G element x-axis with corresponding ID of x-axis as well as y-axis. We also need classes of tick. I think this is a part where we need to reference back the previous things we worked on. Okay, so yeah, this is a problem where they only show it to you once and then you don't really get to work on it. The only really way, the real way it's going to stick is when you build these projects. So we select the body here. That's what I remember. Yeah, D3 automatically handles all the code. You don't write anything. It dynamically adds HTML. For the data at least. For other stuff you still have to add, you know, like title and whatever. So I'm gonna have a data, I think I'm gonna have a data section, I guess. So let's say this div over here ID equal to data. Okay. And then here we're gonna select ID, which is going to be data dot append svg and then the attributes and whatever. But first we need to get the actual data. From the data set. And what we're going to output it to. Which is going to be rectangles and blah blah blah. So that will come after all that. So after all these attributes. But we're not quite there yet. We need to select all. What are we going to separate them by? P. Oh, thanks Veroni, I appreciate it. Hope you sleep well. So we select all the P tags. I think I should be able to use single. That shouldn't be an issue, D3 should handle. So we select all the P tags and then the data is from the data set. So the data from the data set right here. And the data set being... Wait, do they call theirs data set? Oh, they do. Then to lessen confusion, we can do data set equal to object.data. And then we call data set there. And then for each one we enter. Which I don't see anywhere in D3. And then we append the same tags that we used. P, and then we need to do, it was .text, yeah, .text. And then that takes a callback. No, you can have two things. You can have D, which is the data. I can't remember what the other one was. But you can take D and have it return as an arrow function. And then here you would just do, or you don't even need it like that. It can literally just be D. How does it work again? I think it was literally just that. I don't know what this is gonna do now. That's why we test things so that I can remember how this all works. No, we have an issue. Oh. Thanks for Ronnie. I really appreciate that. It's complaining about D3 not being defined, but I mean, I think it should work here. Should get some kind of data somewhere. There you go. Okay, so what's it doing here? I don't want to log data. D3.select data. .select all p .data dataset .enter .append p .text. I'm pretty sure that's how it went. Let us figure out. Oh, you need to have it separated and then D. Okay. So it was separated. And the issue here, D3 is not defined. Unexpected parentheses. What happens when we do this? Can we get some data somewhere? No? No way? That's how inspectors say. Nothing in our data. What are we missing? It should have literally been d3.select. We've got select all, yeah we do. Dot data and then our data set. And then enter, append, paragraph, dot text. I'm literally gonna just copy this just to see if it's something that I messed up somewhere. My linter is removing it. Let's just make sure it's not a linting issue first. Okay, so it's not that, that's the issue. I just want to make sure that it's not that. Okay, so now that we've ruled that out, This is what the argument would be. D would be our data. Okay. So instead of using data, let's select body. Okay, so that will work. Interesting. So do we have to do... That's weird. Why the body? Why couldn't we put it in the specific ID? Okay, this is now for each one. This is gonna do for each item. Let's Google d3.select, and that's gonna try to open up a web page. d3.select. Oh, do I actually do... What was it? Data? Do I have to actually go data like that? Was that the issue? Because if so, that would be amazing. There you go. So it should all be in data now. Yes, it is! Oh, so simple. Okay. So I need the identifiers. Either the pound or the anchor. So data.select all. And we're going to separate them by P's, but we're not going to separate them by P's. This is the part where we now need to do it based on and then we append SVG. But did they even specify what it should be? It should be a rectangle. Oh, so we should have this separated. That's smart. d3.select. So this is going to be our data. .append svg.attribute width and height, and then we need a const width. Let's do 500 500 and height. Let's do 500 as well. Actually, that's going to be SVG width, SVG height. W is that, H is that. Okay, so that's the main part. And then that's how we add the rectangle over here. And that's where I have to add all the data in afterwards. So svg.select all rectangles. And we could use divs as the example. What other things do we have to do? We also need values. Yeah, so there's no hand holding here because it doesn't even tell you anything like what the width should be or nothing. You just have to make it. So good thing we're going back. Forgetful Isaac, hey, how's it going? Dot attribute X is going to be 0. Y is going to be 0. Width is 25 and 100. There we go. So we got our SVG, which is d3.selectData.append SVG.attribute width height. So that's how big our SVG is going to be, 500 by 500. And then we're appending a rectangle for each data set from 0 to 0, width 25, height 100. You're officially on summer vacation? That's so awesome! What are you going to do with all your free time now? Wait, are we supposed to even be doing, what are we even supposed to do? Visualize data with a bar chart. That was a bar chart, right? Yeah, it was. What is our data set? Log data set. I want to see what we're working with, because there we had just simple values. This is something completely different. Wasted away on my couch. Well, as long as you're having fun, it's not a waste then, is it? It's an array. Wait, what? Is it physically 0 to 99? 100 to 199? So it's a 3D array. From what I'm looking at, right? Looks like a 3D array. And we worked on 3D arrays, didn't we? Oh, this is gonna be fun. Isaac, this is gonna be so fun. I already feel my brain hurting. Dude, that's me. Every time I have to work on a new technology. React was the same way, but we're gonna kick this one's ass. It's just, here's the problem. You know, at least React, it was like, you gotta build this and it has to do that. Now go. Here it's, use this technology to visualize data. Here's what you need to do. But it doesn't tell you the bars have to be this high or this low, so that's the confusing part. Like I have to do every step by myself. So I gotta figure out, okay, how do we get rectangles working? What shape should it be? This is gonna be so complicated. And the thing is that I think I'm doing it wrong. Because our data, you see, these are years. I think 1 is the year and 2 is the GDP. But the thing is, they don't even... They don't tell you what you're supposed to do. This is the annoying part. They don't tell you this thing, you're going to use it to visualize the GDP. It doesn't say that anywhere. It says visualize data with a bar chart. It doesn't say you're going to visualize the GDP. Nowhere does it say that. Yeah, it is a 2D array, but it's a 3D array with 2D arrays inside of them. It's the 3 different years. So it literally doesn't say we're calculating the GDP. So I don't know like what the data is. All I know is there's 3 arrays. I assume the years up till 99, and this is between, well no, not really. Or what is this? Or is this a limitation of the browser that it's only, is it 1 array or 3 arrays? Because you see this, right? It looks like there's 3 arrays. 0 to 99, 100 to 199, 200 to 274. Oh, you think it's just 1? Well, let's test it then. If I want dataset 0, that should give me the years, right? Oh. Huh. Yeah, I think you're right. Because 0, yeah. So 0 is the first one. It's just a 2D array. So if I wanted 0, 0 to get the first one's year, there you go. I was gonna get tripped up. I had no idea the browser does that. Indexes 100 at a time. I literally thought there were 3 arrays. This looks doable. The problem is they don't tell you what to do. Other than these requirements here, I had no idea what the project is, so you gotta read everything. And the thing is, I can't start in order until I know what I'm working on. Like what, for example, I'm trying to create the bars right now, but what data do I use for the bars? You know what I mean? So now I gotta read down. It's not in order. So the bars, elements, data property should match the order of the provided data. What properties? Wait, what? Each bar should have the properties data and data GDP containing the data and GDP values. What do they mean by properties? Do they mean attributes? I think they mean attributes, right? So are attributes synonymous with properties? Because I hate when there's that confusion. Spelling. Okay. So what we actually need to do is D3, select data, append SVG, and then SVG. Wait, can I do it this way? Select all rectangles. Why do I have a P here? What the hell? Dot data. Let's pretend we're just gonna have the GDP, which is 1, right? Let's do dataset 1, just as a demo, so we can actually get something going. Dot enter, dot append. That's why, there should be a rectangle, not a div. And then there we set the X and the Y, and the width and the height. This might produce something. Don't get excited though. Oh my god, we got bars. Look at that, we got bars. We actually have bars. How does that make you feel? Just Google, there's a difference, but you can pretty much ignore it. Okay, obviously they're all gonna start at 0, 0. So attribute X actually needs to be... Let's take D and let's take I. And then we return... Wait, what is wrong here? Return X scale. Data set 0, right, for the years. At that index. Right? That's for X, so it should move. X scale is not defined. Ignore it. X scale... Wait, do I have to define X scale? I can't remember now. I think I do need to. Or maybe I don't. It does. Hold on, we need a new... We need a new object that's going to return the years. So what if I do dataset dot map, right? What do you mean dataset has already been declared? Oh, hold on. Years. Do we do years? Equal to dataset.map, year. I know I'm messing this up a lot, it's so cringe, but return new date. I think it was year. 0. Oh my god, how did I spell return? Okay, now log years. Not like that. Man, this is so complicated. Oh, I feel like I'm drowning. We gotta ignore this for now, because it will break. And I want to make sure that I'm doing this right. So we should have an array of years as dates. Okay, do you see this? Wait, where'd it go? Where'd it go? No! Where'd it go? Where'd my... There it is. So you see the dates? They're all actual dates. So they're real dates. Not play dates. Right. What was the requirement? We need a scale. We need to figure out the scale that we need. No, that's not what I need. Scale linear? We don't want a linear scale, do we? Clamp. Power. Log. Time. Time for dates. Variant of linear. Temporal domain occurs to dates rather than numbers. An invert likewise returns a number. Timescales implements ticks based on calendar intervals. And we need ticks, don't we? Didn't it say it's something about we needed ticks? Ticks along the axis, yes. Perfect. No idea what I'm fucking doing, but it's this one. d3.scale_time. What do we call it? So the x scale. Where's my x scale? I was defining an x scale, wasn't I? Well, I wanted to. Const x scale equal to d3.scale_time. Let me just copy this entire fucking thing. d3.scale_time. Then you need to specify a domain. In that domain, oh, remember how domains work. You need a minimum. So we need to specify the minimum range. So d3.min, then years over what the max is as the second parameter. The max is what if we don't specify a max value? What happens? Or d3.max years. There we go. Okay? We're just gonna do that. And then we need to specify a range. Dot range which we will start from 0 up until, I remember that's the size of our, the size of the object that we're working with. In this case, whatever our width is, right? Because it's going to be along the X. Do we have width? SVG width? Yes, I do. Okay, so these two things need to be defined beforehand. So something like that. Woo! Okay, so I think that's the scale. And now that I have the freaking scale, I can call X scale. Wait, if we have X, hold on. We need to return X scale years, whatever is at the index. It is years that I said, right? Yeah, it is. Okay. Dot attribute Y. We need the same DI return our height minus D minus data. I think. Why can't I have a return here? Why does it keep butchering this when I do this? What do you mean the height's not defined? Oh, SVG height. There you go. And then the actual attribute width and height for that bar. Oh man, please tell me we're getting somewhere. Unexpected value, not a number, parsing Y attribute. Okay, so at least we know where the error is. Y. I is defined but never used. What do you mean, in Y? Oh yeah, I don't use it. I think I was just copying it from the top. But the X should have changed. The X didn't change. d3.scale_time.domain d3.min years and then d3.max years range 0 to SVG width years I. I have to space them with a bit of padding, don't I? Wait, we did this before. You've got written the code, which, yeah, it should have been. It's just we got a unexpected value, not a number, passing Y. We got to fix that. It's SVG minus. Wait. Wait. Got the wrong data. Let's pretend that sentence makes sense. Remember you comment out some stuff? Oh yeah, I do remember that. So we need a scaled version, right? So scaled GDP equal to oh, we still need the GDP, don't we? We have the years. GDP dataset.map GDP, was it 1, right? Because 0 is the year. So it's just 1. Can we log the GDP? Let's see if that works. Teach me how to code, please. There's an awesome site called Free Code Camp, which I definitely recommend. That's what I'm busy with now. There we go. We got the GDP, by the way. So we got our GDP, and we got our years. And we had to do something with scaling it, didn't we? Each bar's height should accurately represent attributes. Okay. I'm gonna do GDP min d3.min GDP, right? And then GDP max equal to d3.max GDP. So we got our min and our max now, right? And now that we have our min and our max, the scale GDP is going to be equal to gdp.map GDP, like last time, return where's our scales? We have an X scale, but we also need a linear scale. I missed all of these. Scale linear dot domain 0 to GDP max, and then on top of that we need to apply a range of 0 to our SVG height. Now that we have a linear scale that goes with our X scale, our two scales work together. Whoops. Come with us, please. So over here, and the GDP, don't mind the mess, I'll clean it up afterwards. So the scale with GDP then needs to take, well, we need to return linear scale GDP. That's a scale GDP. And log the scale GDP. Why are you complaining? Oh my god, my mind right now. If it helps, I have no clue what's going on. Don't worry, you're good. Where am I trying to access years? Oh, here? What else am I trying to access? Years, there's width. Here's GDP min and max. There's GDP. Scale GDP. Takes GDP. Calls linear scale on GDP. There we go. Okay, so that's sorted. Do you see that? From lowest to highest. So we have the scale GDP. Now that we have the scale GDP, we could do something. Because now the data is the scale GDP. It's not the data set anymore. Because we didn't know what we were entering before. It's a scale GDP. And then the data will refer to that number. So then this won't be not a number anymore. It'll be height minus the float. So in theory, we should have something. Okay, we could go to sleep now. Yes, it sorts in order using D3 functions. Look at that. It's something. I think it's the wrong way around. I don't know. I have no idea what it's supposed to look like. Oh, we need scales on this now because it's weird. We got to like flesh it out full width. That's the GDP. That makes sense though, right? That it starts at the bottom and it goes to the top. The highest one being there and the lowest one being there. 6 points or whatever. So we should see actual rectangles. Look. Each one has a value. But we have no values yet. We're just freaking drawing them right now. But these values correspond to the GDP values. So they get bigger and bigger. Why do they look like that? I think it's the wrong way around. I think it's supposed to be flipped, isn't it? Like, why is it like on some sides like what? There's more magic that we have to do. You should sort by year. I'm looking at the examples and we apparently want a SVG bar width equal to width. We do width divided by 200. And then we need to call this where we have the width over here. You see that? And then there we should probably set the width to equal that, but what? Just the bar width. Wait, how many data? How many thingies are there again? I've got a brilliant idea, watch this. Data size equal to object.data.length. Please tell me that's going to do what I think it's going to do. Watch this. $275, perfect. So then we take the data size and we take our width divided by the amount of size to scale it perfectly. Does that make sense? I don't know what I've sorted by yet. I'm still trying to just make this thing print. Okay, something's happening now. Look at the scale. Why does it look this way now? That's this. Oh, because we said 500, right? So now check this. Now if we increase it to 800, what is the right scale to use? I think the white lines are spacing. I'm not sure. What's half of 8? Okay, 400. You do 1200 by 600? Because then this will dynamically change this. So now it looks like that. See? What's half of 8? See? It still looks wrong. Like, why is it so noisy? And also, isn't it supposed to be full at the bottom? What are we missing? You know what I mean? Like, don't graphs usually always have the same? Why is it like taking off from here? It's almost like it's mirroring what it's doing there. Any ideas? I have one idea. I must have done something wrong. Jeez, yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. Very helpful. Wait, didn't we need something with G things? Isn't there a G thing? My chart should have G element X axis. We need axis bottom. How do we do that? D3.axis bottom and a scale. Okay. Can we do x-axis equal to d3.axis bottom dot scale? Oh, but the x again. So we got the x-axis now. Where did we do something with x-axis again? I think we're onto something. There you go. We got that. G. Then then you need to call the x-axis. You know what I just realized? I did. Fuck. You're back, cool. Don't I need to add something to space it? Add like 50. Well, I don't know, like 30? Imagine that's why. Okay. I think I'm supposed to do append G, is it G? Dot call. Do we have x-axis now? Call x-axis. And then ID of x-axis. Okay. So attribute ID comma x-axis. Do that for now. That's one part. So where we should have an x-axis. I think I'm gonna have to continue this tomorrow because yeah, I'm gonna have to like read up so much on D3. There's so much that we still have to do, and I want to hit back those previous examples as well, because we need to do an x-axis and then a y-axis, and then I got to figure out why the bars aren't aligning. And oh, there's so much. I think we need to start somewhere small. This is like a massive project. But if we complete this first one, hopefully the next ones will be a bit easier, I'm hoping. We can see how we do the scale, GDP, and all that. We figured some things out here or there. So yeah, I'm gonna hit this tomorrow. It will be in part 2. We'll continue this saga. I'm happy we at least got through the APIs bit and the JSONs bit, and we created our own little data request, even though apparently you can just use D3 to get it. But I mean, hey, I'm gonna leave it like this. It's a learning progress. Then next time we can use D3's built-in one. But yeah, all of that's gonna be on the next episode. I'm excited for it, and we'll see where we get from there. So until then, bye for now.